Good morning, it's Pam. Just me, solo today. Gary is busy working and our dog's sleeping, and I have been doing a lot of projects this morning, but I wanted to stop and do a quick, I don't know how quick it'll be, podcast about a 6 weeks course that Gary and I are taking. We started it on Monday. It's Ball State University partnered with Turner Classic Movies to do 50 Years of Hitchcock. And we are huge classic movie fans. I really am. And also Hitchcock fans. That's not to say I love every Hitchcock film to pieces, because I don't. I have my favorites. Some I like less than others, but I respect him as a director and a genius on the screen with his work. Respect all that he did in just innovative direction, and just I think he was a genius, and maybe weird with some of his later works. He became kind of really interesting with the work that he did. But anyway, this course is free, and it's every day, 5 days a week for 6 weeks. So it goes from now, started on Monday through August. That's when it officially ends. You do have a pass on it, in that if you, at the end of the course, pass the test, you get a certificate of completion, and Gary and I are all about completing whatever we start. So hopefully we'll pass and we'll get a certificate of completion. We've already had a little test, a little quiz on Monday, and I was feeling pretty cocky because I felt like I could kind of ace it. Wasn't sure Gary could, because it was photos from Hitchcock films, and I got 9 out of 10, and so did he. So we're tied. The interesting thing that I learned about Hitchcock on Monday that I didn't know, and I found extremely compelling, gratifying really, was in the really early days of his film career, and that goes back to the early 20s, he learned screenwriting from women. And I didn't know that. That was an interesting little nugget that it really caught my attention. And learning his background and all of the things that began his career, and they have little clips of him speaking. And one of the things he said about a film that he did in 1927 that I'll be watching later, it's a silent film, obviously in 27. I'm not a huge fan of silent movies. I don't know why, but I'm just not. But I will be watching The Lodger, because Hitchcock's first film was called The Pleasure Garden, and it is really old, too old for me even, but I have seen some clips from it because of the course. But I will be watching The Lodger because it's kind of part of the course, and I want to see it. But a couple of things he said in an interview about that film and his work, his bodies of work, he said really the British people tend to film and do stories about the macabre, about crime, and that really is true. There's a TV show, a British TV show that I'm a big fan of. It's called Rosemary and Thyme, and it's about these two women that go around and do gardening work at these fabulous places, and at each place a murder happens. And so why would you hire these women? Because they're like bad news. But it's a wonderful show, and but if you think about, when I think about all the British shows that I like so much, they really are about crime and and can be the macabre, I suppose. But another thing he said that was really interesting to me about the film The Lodger, which was not immediately loved by his peers and the people in the industry at the time that it was made in 1926. wasn't released until 1927 because of that, because they didn't understand the film. They didn't know what he was trying to do with the film until someone much more savvy and the decision maker watched it and got it, and then it went out and it became one of the best movies of all time up to that point, he said. And so he says, that's the thing about the difference between the fine line between failure and success. It's just this fine line. That movie could have sat there forever, and his career probably would have taken a very different path. He didn't say that, I'm saying it. But anyway, this online course is so worth my time, I think, thus far. After 2 days, this will be my third day of it. I recommend you doing an online course and something you're interested in. There are thousands of them out there. Many, the majority, I think, are free. And if you're going to be on the computer, if you're going to be on your iPad or whatever, it's I'm on Facebook too, but to spend time doing something else, especially now where there's never been for me personally a better time for this sort of distraction. And Turner Classic Movies is showing the films in conjunction with Ball State's course all during the month, this next month, and actually starting tonight. And let me know if you do an online course and what you think about it. Gary and I are super competitive. Gary's a brainiac. In order to get a certificate of completion, you have to get 70 on the quiz at the end of this course in 6 weeks. How will we do? Will we be able to finish? Because we do have a lot of projects going on. And some of them are very timely, and for Gary in particular, and for what his actual work. So we'll see how it goes. If you're a Hitchcock fan, it's not too late. You can catch up. So jump in there and do this course, and let's talk about it. And let us hear from you. And we'll see you in class.